Chris T, and alongside me is fellow community liaison Mark. Say hi, Mark.
What's going on, guys? Some of you might know me better as MJV.
We're here today. We're going to bring you a big topic with two subtopics. Properly running a two-man crew. Sometimes guys come in here and they run by themselves, and that's fine, but other people want to get a conductor and a brakeman involved, and really bring themselves into the experience. So me and Mark today, we're going to bring you things you can do while running with the two-man crew to really bring the realism in. We're going to cover good radio practice. We're going to run through just shifting a couple scenery cars here in the B yard. How to get three-step, what three-step involves, how to cut away, properly handling angle cocks, and how to do car counts, protecting moves, doing your C102 drift test, all the things that me and Mark do in the real world that you can put into sim and add to the realism. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Mark, you're ready to go, I assume?
I am ready to go. I'm tested and ready.
Okay. Alright, walk up here to the switch. Yeah, we're going to back up here to these cut of cars right here. It's an NW covered hopper, and we'll make a cut and just set it over. Just a little simple practice to show. First things first, coming up here, we're going to pull out, so we'll double check the route. You can see one of the good things about the running is the zoom feature, which is quite nice. You can see we're all lined out, plenty of headroom, so alright Mark, whenever you're ready, we'll bring them out to clear 17.
Roger, when I can okay to pull, clearance 17.
So when you're making a move like this, and the conductor's pulling, you want to, let him know how many he's good for, which we'll cover more. We have more cars here, but pull on out. Alright, one engine, 6121.
One engine.
And that'll do.
Far enough.
Alright. Grab your switch. Alright, one thing here about switching cars is giving good car counts to your engineer. You want to make sure you have an accurate number coming back, because if you wax these cars too hard, you're going to damage equipment, cause a derailment, and in the realm of the sim, you could crash the server and ruin everybody's good time. So you don't want to do that. So we're standing down here at the double. Let's see. I'd say about 6 cars back double. So 6121. Got you all lined in for 15. Whenever you're ready, bring them south. I'll give you 6 cars to the double, over.
Roger, all lined up. When I can, okay, back 6 cars for the hitch.
Alright, that's a roger. Now he'll come back. He confirms what he said to me. And he'll start his way back here. And then you need to give him good car counts as he pulls back. One thing you can do, you can use cars in adjacent tracks as a marker there. We have 5 more 6121.
5 cars.
4. 3. 2. Last one, 6121. Half. And that'll do 6121. Alright, in this situation here, what we were always taught to do is give them a stretch whenever you get a double. So that way you make sure you have everything all together when you make a pull here. So 6121, go give me a little stretch here.
Roger, 6121 stretch.
Alright, you got him, 6121. I'll take 3-step when you can.
Conductor of the 6121, you do have 3-step protection applied, over.
Roger, 3 steps applied, 6121 conductor. Now, 3-step protection involves centering the reverser, making a full independent brake application on the locomotives, making an application on the automatic air brake, a sufficient enough application to hold the equipment, and to drop the generator field switch on the control stand. And we'll cover those in the cab here later. So I have 3-step now. I can go in and I'm allowed to mess with equipment in the FOW here, which would be, in the case of the sim, will be things like the handbrakes, the angle cocks, and EOTs if you're going to use one. So we'll go ahead and... oh, Mark, I think we need crew interaction on.
Knew we'd forget something.
Yeah.
I guess it's also a good thing that happened. Whenever you are working a two-man crew in Run 8, you need to enable your crew interaction. You can do so by hitting F2 in the client tab at the bottom right. There'll be a slider for crew interaction that has to be on for a conductor to be able to interact with your train, and that goes with taking handbrakes off, opening angle cocks, retagging cars, things like that.
Alright, I got mine on.
Mine is on, and you still have three-step protection on the CSX 6121.
Alright, Roger, 3-step still applied, 6121. Now, I'm going to fly to the rear real quick, because this angle cock's probably... Oh, it's closed. Okay, cool. Alright, that was a minor move, so we'll go ahead and cut it in.
Hold for the flow.
Roger. Working as a two-man crew, it's always best to let the engineer tell you when the flow is down enough to open the angle cock, because it's hard to tell without dumping it when you don't have control of the engine.
A good number to go is 100 CFM. So when your flow is under 100, or if you're looking in the cab of the SD40s and Jeeps under 10, then it's usually safe to open up the angle cock all the way. You can take it the rest of the way.
Alright, Roger. Okay, take it the rest of the way. Okay. 6121, okay to drop conductors 3, charge it up, let me know.
Roger, dropping the 3 on the charge.
Alright, what I did there was I released my 3-step to him, so now he can mess with the controls as need be, with me in the clear, and I asked him to charge it up, so he's going to let the engines pump the cars up enough to get a sufficient amount of air in them, and then we're going to go back, make a cut, pull it out, and then set it over. I shouldn't take too long on this short little stubby cut of cars here.
If you remember one of the previous videos Chris made, your flow has to be below 60 before all brakes are considered a released. So if your flow is below 60, then you're considered charged up. Alright, 6121, we're all charged up.
Alright, Roger, all charged up. I'll take 3-step back, we'll knock his handbrakes off.
CSX 6121 conductor, you do have 3-step protection, over.
Roger, on to 36121 conductor. So after charge it back up, making sure you have a sufficient hold on the equipment, you can release the handbrakes. I don't believe with Manicam you can see the car, so when you click them, a menu comes up and you just hit release. Release a couple of them. I'll just say there's 3. Oh, there's only 2 on here. Nice. Alright, I'll walk back here. We'll do a tank car here. Close the angle cock on that car. Open the cut lever. As you can see, there's slack's bunched, so if the slack was drawn out, you'd have to bunch them up. That'd be something to do before you make your cut, but we got lucky here. So couplers open. Alright, 6121, okay, drop conductors 3. Let's take them ahead to clear 16.
Roger, release a 3-step for the conductor, CSX 6121, okay to pull when I can, to clear 16. Here we go.
Step out here so I don't step on the wrong car. So here, it's going to be tough in this situation to give car counts, so give them to him as best you can while you're moving. I'm probably down about 3 more 6121.
Roger, 3 cars.
Zoom in and take a look. 2 more. And the last one, 6121. And 6121 anywhere in there will do.
Far enough.
Okay.
Good tip for giving car counts is, like Chris said, you want to give counts within half of what you last gave. So if you give someone 10 cars, you have to talk to them within 5 cars. And that last 5 cars, you always want to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, far enough. And that allows the engineer to have a lot better control of his train because he knows exactly where he needs you to make that stop. If you say 5, don't say anything till 3, it's harder for him to judge that distance.
Alrighty. Let's see, this is 16 now. Alright, in this situation here, we've got we've only got 3 cars in our cut, and it goes all the way back here. So we have a nice long stretch of track we can work with here. So it's not necessary to ride the shove. In some cases, it might be. So you can give a nice big car count here, but you only need 3 cars, 4 cars to put it in the clear. So you know you can be real generous with your car counts. All right, 6121, got you lined in for 16. Whenever you're ready, okay to bring them south. Good for, I'll give you 20, 2-0. I need about 5 to put them in the clear.
Roger, 6121 lined for 16. Okay, back 5 cars. I'm good for 20. Here we go.
Give about 3 more 6121.
3.
Down to 2. One more 6121. Alright, 6121, anywhere there will do, and I'll take 3 step.
Conductor on the CSX 6121, you do have 3-step protection, over.
Roger on the 3-step 6121 conductor. Alright, in this case here, our rule that we work with on NS is that the handbrake rule, 1 car, 1 handbrake, 2 cars, 2 handbrakes, 2 or more cars, 2 handbrakes, and then an additional amount of handbrakes sufficient enough to hold the equipment. So, in this case, we know Moncrief is a relatively flat yard. We have 3 cars, so we have to put at least 2 handbrakes on. So we'll go ahead and apply a handbrake here, and a handbrake on this tank car. Alright, 6121, okay to drop my 3, and check the hold.
Roger, okay to drop your 3 steps, C102.
Roger. Okay, we used 2 different terms there. I said check the hold, he said C102. On NS, we call it a C102 because that's the rule number for checking the effectiveness of handbrakes. But other places call it checking the hold or whatever term they have for it. So kind of a, you know, as long as you convey the information and the engineer understands, either one works. Mark, you want to explain what a C102 involves?
So a C102 is you're testing make sure that the handbrakes can hold the cut of cars that you're tying down. So C102 involves, for me as an engineer, I need to get the flow down below 60. Remember, 60 is considered all brakes are released. And when it's down below that number, I will tell my conductor that the flow is down and he can start his minute. He'll count down a minute. If the cars don't move, then that's a good C102. That you have enough handbrakes on the train to hold the cut of cars.
So on a short little cut like this, it's not going to take long for the air to, to get your flow down to show release. On a longer train, 50, 75, 100 cars, it's going to take longer. So it's all relative to how big your train is and how long it'll take the air to release.
6121 flows down, all brakes are released, start your minute.
Alright, Roger, flows down on the minute. The C102, we're testing your handbrakes. Once the flow's down, the engineer tells you, you start the minute. So you want to watch your flow, or not the flow, geez. You want to watch the cars for a minute and see if there's any movement. In the sim, this is practical because there are some places where the cars will roll when they're released with handbrakes on. I can think of a couple places, like Cargill and Vertimont is a very good example of that when dealing with loads. I think Oro Grande with the coal train, sometimes they can roll away on you. It's on a grade right there, so it's actually quite practical to test the handbrakes in a lot of locations in the sim, especially with if the service setting is set to no automatic handbrakes. I mean, if you don't put any handbrakes on and cut away, it could roll away. So it's always a good idea to put handbrakes on it. Alright, 6121, looks like it's holding back here. I'll go ahead and take 3-step again.
Roger, it's a good minute, good hold. 3-step reapplied, CSX 6121 conductor.
Roger, on to 36121. Alright. Go ahead and close the angle cock. Pull the pin. Alright, 6121, okay to drop conductors 3 and take them out to clear again.
Roger, releasing 3-step protection, CSX 6121 conductor, okay to pull to clear the switch.
Should be down the cell step. There we go. I guess Mark will put these over on 17, huh? These engines.
That sounds good.
Okay. About 1 engine length.
1 engine length.
Catalu 6121.
Far enough.
Alright, 6121 got you all lined in for 17. Whenever you're ready, we'll bring them south. Good for 20. 20, just put them in a clear up there.
Roger, all lined up for 17. Okay to bring them south. Good for 20. Taking what I need to be in the clear. In this instance, where we're just putting engines away, he's told me that I'm good for 20 cars. I am on the head end so I can see where I need to stop. He does not need to count me down in this instance. I know that the track's good for 20 cars and that it'll hold my 2 engines, so I can stop myself wherever I need to stop.
Should cover an engine handbrake test too while we're at it, huh?
Yeah, let's go for it.
If I can put handbrakes on the engines. Oh, I might be able to. I can. Try that. There we go, okay. Alright, 6121, I got the handbrakes on both edges. Let's go ahead and test them.
Roger, handbrakes on both engines, let's test them. So this is called a drift test. A drift test involves when you're tying down engines to make sure that the engine handbrakes will hold them in where they're at. All the handbrakes on all the engines. And then you notch them up and move them until they move. When they start moving, you let off the power and let them stop. How far are they allowed to roll, Chris? I forget that because
is it 150 feet?
Yeah, I believe you're right. So if they roll more than 150 feet, then it's not a sufficient amount of handbrakes. So they're not a sufficient amount of brakes to hold the engines down. I've never had this happen before. So I don't know if it would ever happen in the sim, but here we'll do our drift test now.
What I do...
Release the independent.
What I do, Mark, yeah, I go to about notch 4, I think, so before... This is as high as I go before the engines even start to move.
They started moving, I let go of the throttle, let them drift to a stop. It was less than 100 feet, so that's a good drift, or 150 feet, so that's a good drift test.
That's more or less it when it comes to, operating as a conductor. It's pretty basic in all honesty. Anything you want to add, Mark, here to the conductor's portion?
I think that's pretty much all we have to cover for the conductor portion.
Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to what an engineer is doing during all this stuff. We'll set it back up.
Alright guys, so we've discussed things that you need to do as a conductor when working a 2-man crew. Now we're going to discuss things that you were responsible for if you're running as the engineer. Some things we're going to talk about is 3-step protection, what you have to do for 3-step to properly apply it, and the proper lingo. And we're also going to talk about keeping communication with your conductor, making sure that you're both on the same page and that the move is done safely and properly. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to give 3-step protection as an engineer. The 3 steps to that are your air brakes, your reverser, and your generator field.
Alright, 6121, take 3-step for the conductor when you can.
Alright, so the conductor's asked me for 3-step. First and foremost, I'm going to make sure that my reverser is neutral. It's always a good habit whenever you're not just working a 2-man crew, but whenever you're on one of these engines, to always center the reverser if you're not moving. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my generator field switch is down. When the switch is down, it's impossible for power to be sent to the traction motors. After that, I'm going to make sure my independent is fully applied. And then the final step is apply my automatic. It doesn't have to be a full service. For us on the NS, it says a sufficient enough amount of brake pressure to hold the train. So you could do a minimum 10 pounds. If you're on a hill, maybe you need a little bit more than that. But those are the 3 steps of protection. Your generator field has to be down, reverser has to be neutral, and your automatic and independent brake have to be applied. Now that I have given him 3-step, I have to let him know. All right, conductor, for the CSX 6121, you do have 3-step protection.
Roger, 3 steps applied. CSX 6121 conductor.
All right, so another big thing that's very important as an engineer is when we are making moves, you need to make sure that you're in constant contact with your conductor. And always, whenever he gives you information, you always want to relay that information back. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to demonstrate this now.
All right, 6121, whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and take him head 20 to clear.
Roger, head 20 to clear. So he's telling me that I need to pull about 20 cars to clear this switch. So I'm going to start pulling. Now, if he doesn't say anything to me within 10 car lengths, it's my responsibility as an engineer to get communication with him. And if I cannot establish communication with him, then I have to talk to him within that 10 car lengths. It's also very important whenever he tells me something, ahead 20 to clear, I repeat that information back. This is very good practice. It makes sure that we're both on the same page and we're getting done what we need to get done. Hey, CSX 6121 conductor, how are we looking?
Give me about 10 more 6121.
Roger, about 10 more cars. He didn't reply to me within half of that number, 10 cars. So I asked him. If he did not reply to me, it would be my job to stop the train until he replies. I don't know what could have happened back there. In real life, something could have happened in the server. He could lag out, and I could just keep pulling for eternity. So always make sure you maintain good communication between your conductor and engineer.
Alrighty, one last thing we're going to cover here in our 2-man crew section is calling signals out. If you're going down the road on a local and you're both in a cab, you both want to stay on the same page about what's going on the road. You know, call the signals out to each other. On NS, our rule is we call it out in the cab to each other, we call it out over the radio, and then you call it out to each other again when you go by it. This ensures that you know what the signal is. By saying it 3 times, there's no doubt in your mind what signal you had. You both know what's going on. If you're going to stop up ahead, you know, if you're going to cross over or whatever, you're following up somebody and you got to pay attention to what's going on. Yeah, this is the best way to keep on the same page with each other in a sim like this. So if you don't even hear from somebody, you could poke each other in TeamSpeak just to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. So, all right, Mark, what we got coming up here? Looks like a medium clear Beaver Street.
Roger, medium clear at Beaver Street.
After calling it out in the cab, then you can go ahead and call it out over the radio in the TeamSpeak road channel. CSX 4841 South Main Track Beaver Street, medium clear. After on the radio, we get by here, we'll call it out to each other again. This just affirms what we've seen and what we've called out. We know we got our medium clear here. We know we're crossing over at Beaver Street. 30 mile an hour through this interlocking. Right now, Mark, as you can see, is doing 26. So, all right, Mark, medium clear by.
Roger, medium clear by.
And that's that. Those are the very basic steps needed to run a 2-man crew. We covered everything from cutting away and giving car counts. Some of the tougher things that you'll do with 2-man crews. But these are things you can do to really beef up the realism with the sim, and a special way to get to know each other too. Work with someone and figure out how they are as an engineer, how they are as a conductor, and really get to know each other on here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you haven't worked a 2-man crew, it truly brings a whole nother level to Run 8. It makes the realism and it makes it 10 times more fun. Chris, thank you so much for having me along today, and hopefully I'll be along for another one.
Well, thanks for coming, Mark. I appreciate your help here tonight. All right, everybody, take care and have fun out there.